The night was silent. The ruined colony lay under a broken sky, its towers shattered like bones of giants. Captain Elias walked slowly, his boots crunching on the dusty ground. He had traveled many worlds, but this place felt different. Empty, yet not empty. The silence carried whispers as if the walls remembered screams. Elias tightened his grip on his blaster. He had come here searching for supplies, maybe survivors. His ship waited outside the ruins, its lights faint in the distance. But the deeper he walked, the stronger the feeling grew. Someone was watching him. He paused near a collapsed building. Something moved in the shadows. A small figure. Not tall, not threatening. A child. Elias froze. The figure stepped closer, trembling. Two wide glowing eyes looked up at him. It was not human. Its skin shimmered faint blue, marked with lines like rivers of light. Thin arms hugged a small bundle to its chest. The child's voice was soft, shaking yet clear. Please marry my mom, human. She's all I have left." Elias blinked. For a moment he thought he had misheard. A strange request from a lost alien child in a dead colony. He lowered his blaster, still cautious. What did you say?" The child took another step. Its face was wet with tears, though the tears glowed faintly like drops of light. "My father is gone. My people are gone. You are the first human I have seen. Please don't marry my mom. Please protect her. She is hurt. She is dying." Elias's heart pounded. His soldier's mind told him to turn back, to stay away from alien trouble. But his human heart, the part he could never silence, felt the weight of the child's words. He crouched slowly, his eyes meeting the child's glowing gaze. "Where is your mother?" The child pointed toward the dark hall of the broken building. Its small hand shook. Elias glanced into the shadows, his senses alert. Why would you ask me this?" he whispered. The child looked at him with desperation no words could hide. "Because humans are strong. Because humans protect. My mother told me stories. She said if we ever found a human, they would not leave us to die. She told me, humans can be family even when blood is different." Elias felt a strange chill. Stories about humans? From aliens? Who told them? Why? He stood, still unsure, but the child pulled his hand, trying to lead him inside. "Please, she needs you. She needs us." Elias allowed himself to be guided, but his instincts screamed danger. Inside, the air was colder. The ruined hall smelled of smoke and metal. Broken glass crunched under his boots. Then he saw her. Against the far wall, half hidden under torn fabric, lay an alien woman. Her skin shimmered the same faint blue as the child's, but duller, fading. A wound cut deep across her side. She breathed shallowly, her eyes half open. She noticed Elias and struggled to sit, but pain forced her down. Her gaze was proud yet wary. "Human," she whispered weakly. "Why are you here?" Elias stayed still. The child rushed to her side, holding her hand tightly. "Mother, I found him. I found a human.
He will help us.
He will marry you, so we are not alone." The woman's eyes widened in shock. Her weak voice scolded the child. No, you should not." She coughed, her body shaking. "We cannot ask this. He does not belong here," the child cried, pressing closer. "But you said humans protect. You said they care. He is the only one. Please, mother, please." Elias stepped forward, kneeling by them. He looked at the wound, his soldier's eyes measuring how bad it was. He had seen death before, and this was close. He pulled a small med pack from his belt. "I can try to stop the bleeding, but I don't understand. Why would your child say this to me? Why me?" The woman's eyes softened, full of pain and shame. "My child does not understand our ways, or maybe understands too much. We are hunted. Our family is gone. He thinks if you are bound to us, we will be safe. He thinks you can take his father's place." The child looked at Elias, eyes glowing with hope. "You will, right? You will stay? You will protect us?" Elias swallowed hard. His hands worked on the wound, sealing it with foam from his med pack. But his mind swirled with questions. Why did these aliens believe in humans? What happened to their people? And who was hunting them? A sound echoed from the broken streets outside. A deep metallic thud. Then another. Elias's heart raced. He knew that sound. Machines. Heavy machines. The alien woman's eyes widened in terror. She whispered a single word, almost broken. "They found us." The child clung to Elias's arm, whispering through tears. "Don't leave us. Please, human. You are all we have." Elias turned toward the door, blaster ready. the shadows of tall machines moving closer. The silence of the ruins was broken. The hunt had begun. The air grew heavy inside the broken hall. The sound of machines outside echoed like thunder in the distance. But here, in the shadows, Elias knelt beside the wounded alien woman. Her eyes, though weak, studied him with sharp caution. She did not see a savior. She saw a stranger, a human. The child pressed close to her, glowing tears still falling. "Mother, he helped you." He stopped the bleeding. "Please trust him." The woman's lips trembled. She touched her child's head gently, then looked back at Elias. "Why are you here, human? This is not your world. This is not your war." Elias hesitated. His hand tightened around his blaster. "I came looking for survivors, supplies. I didn't expect to find you." The woman gave a weak, bitter laugh. "Survivors? We are not survivors. We are the last pieces of something already broken." Her words cut the silence. Elias could see her strength fading, yet there was fire in her eyes, a will that refused to die. The child interrupted, pulling on Elias's arm. "He will protect us. He will stay, you see? He is not like the hunters. He is human." The woman's gaze hardened. She shook her head slowly. "You don't understand, little one. Humans are not bound to us. They do not share our blood. They cannot share our fate." Elias frowned. "Your child believes in me. Why?" The woman looked away, pain written across her face. For a long moment she said nothing. Then her voice came, soft, fragile, but honest. "Because I told him stories. Stories of humans. Long ago there were whispers. That humans could stand with us when others would not. That they fight not for power but for heart." Elias blinked. The idea seemed impossible. "Stories about us? From where?" The woman coughed, struggling for breath. "From my father. From old records. I thought they were myths. But my child, he believes them. He believes you are the answer." The child's eyes shone with stubborn hope. "He is the answer." "I know it." Elias felt the weight of the child's belief pressing against his chest. He had seen children before, human children on colonies clinging to soldiers for safety. But this was different. This child was alien and yet the same. Lost. Afraid. Desperate for someone to stand between them in the dark. Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. The machines outside were moving closer. Elias heard metal feet crushing stone. The woman's eyes filled with fear. She whispered urgently, "They are coming. If they find us, they will finish what they started." Elias raised his blaster, his soldier's instincts sharpening. "Who are they?" Her answer was a trembling breath. "Hunters, made to erase us." The child clutched Elias's sleeve. "Please don't let them take her. You are strong. You can fight them." Elias stared at the doorway where shadows shifted. He felt the pull of his duty to survive, to escape. But another pull, stronger, whispered inside him. The child's plea. The mother's fading strength. He turned back. "If we stay here, we die."
"Can you move?"
The woman shook her head. "Not far. My wound." Elias knelt, slipping an arm under her shoulders. She gasped in pain, but he held her steady. Then we moved together. "I've carried worse." Her eyes widened. For the first time, doubt cracked, replaced by surprise. Why would you help us?" Elias's voice was calm but firm. "Because I can." The child hurried ahead, guiding them through the ruins. Broken walls glowed faintly with strange alien symbols. Every sound of metal outside grew louder, closer. They reached a narrow passage half buried under debris. Elias forced the woman through, shielding her with his own body. His breath came heavy, but he did not stop. Behind them, a metallic voice echoed through the ruins. Cold. Empty. "Target detected. Genetic signature confirmed. Proceed with capture." The woman's face turned pale. She whispered, almost broken, "They are after my child." Elias felt a chill. He glanced at the boy, who stared back at him with wide, glowing eyes. "Why?" Elias asked. The woman shook her head, trembling. "Because he carries what they fear. Because he is proof that our kind, and humans, are not so different." Before Elias could question more, a beam of red light cut through the wall, burning stone to ash. "The hunters had arrived. Run!" Elias shouted. They stumbled through the passage, the child pulling his mother's hand, Elias covering their backs with his blaster. Shots of blue energy tore the air, smashing debris around them. The child cried, "This way! I know a place." They burst into a chamber deep under the ruins. Strange crystals lined the walls, glowing faintly. Elias dragged the woman inside, then spun to face the entrance, blaster ready. But the hunters did not enter immediately. Their heavy steps stopped outside like predators waiting. Elias's chest heaved. Sweat ran down his face. He glanced back at the woman and child. The woman's breathing was shallow, her body weak, but her eyes held a strange glow now. Fear mixed with something else. "You shouldn't be here, human," she whispered. "You will die with us." Elias shook his head. "Maybe, but not tonight." The child clung to him, whispering with all the faith in his small voice, "You will save us. I know you will." Outside, the machines began to speak again, their voices blending like a chorus of cold metal. "Unacceptable union detected. Eradication required." The woman's eyes widened in horror. Elias's hand tightened on his weapon. Whatever this war was, whatever secrets the child carried, he had just stepped into the center of it, and there was no turning back. The ruins shook again. Dust drifted from the ceiling, falling like gray snow. Captain Elias pressed his back to the wall, blaster raised. The alien child clung to his arm, while the wounded mother leaned against the crystal-lit stones, struggling to breathe. Outside the chamber, heavy steps echoed. Metallic feet, slow, steady, like drums of war. The voice returned, flat, mechanical, without a shred of life. "Target confirmed. Eliminate resistance." The mother's eyes widened. She whispered in fear, "They will not stop. They will tear down this place stone by stone until they find us." Elias glanced at her, then at the child. He saw the same terror he had seen in human children on battlefields, fear that froze the body, but hope that clung to whoever stood between them and death. The child whispered, voice trembling, "Human, you won't let them take her, right?" Elias did not answer with words. He adjusted his grip on the blaster, the weapon humming softly. His silence was answer enough. The hunters came. The chamber doors cracked as a beam of red light sliced through the stone. Molten rock dripped like liquid fire. A giant figure stepped through the breach. Its body was tall, built of black metal, its eyes glowing red like burning coals. Long arms ended in weapons, part gun, part blade. It scanned the room with a red beam that passed over Elias, the mother, and the child. Then it spoke again, but not only in sound. The voice vibrated in Elias's skull as if forcing its way into his mind. "Unacceptable union detected. Terminate anomaly." Elias fired first. His blaster lit the chamber with blue fire. The shot struck the machine's chest, sparks flying. But the hunter did not fall. It staggered, then straightened, its red eyes locking on Elias with cold purpose. The child screamed. The mother tried to rise, but her wound kept her down. Elias shouted, "Stay back!" He rolled aside as the machine's arm fired a beam that scorched the wall. Stone exploded into shards. He fired again, aiming for the head. The shot cracked the metal mask, leaving a glowing scar. The hunter slowed, then raised its arm to strike. Suddenly, more footsteps echoed behind it. 2 more hunters entered, their red eyes glowing in the dark. The chamber filled with the sound of cold machines surrounding them. Elias's heart pounded. He had faced armies, but this was different. This was not war. This was execution. The mother whispered urgently, "They don't want me. They want my child. He is the key. That is why they hunt us." Elias glanced at the boy, his mind racing. "Key to what?" The mother shook her head weakly. "To a future they fear, to a bond they cannot allow." The child cried out, clinging tighter to Elias. "Please, don't let them take me." The hunters stepped closer, their weapons glowing. Elias fired again, ducking behind broken stone. The chamber lit with fire and smoke. But no matter how many shots he fired, the machines kept advancing. Their armor was thick, their will unbreakable. One of them spoke again, voice cold and final. "Resistance irrelevant." "The human will be erased." Elias grit his teeth. He had heard words like that before, from enemies who thought humans were weak, who thought fear could break them. They were always wrong. He shouted, "If you want them, you'll have to go through me." The machines raised their weapons. Energy beams fired, slamming into the walls. Crystals shattered, the chamber trembling. The child pressed his hands to the wall, glowing, tears falling. Suddenly the crystals lit brighter, reacting to his touch. Symbols carved in stone flickered alive, lines of light spreading across the room. Elias's eyes widened. The boy wasn't just a survivor. He was connected to this place. The hunters stopped for a second, scanning the glowing walls. Their voices blended together like a chorus of metal. Anomaly confirmed. Hybrid activation detected. Immediate eradication required. The mother gasped, horror in her eyes. They know. He is waking the city. Elias fired again, covering the child. But his mind churned with questions. Hybrid activation? What was this boy? The child cried out, "It's helping us!" The city is listening. The ground shook. Hidden mechanisms groaned awake. Old machines long buried began to stir under their feet. The hunters fired wildly, trying to destroy the crystals. But beams of blue light shot back from the walls, striking one of them and blasting its chest open. The machine fell, smoke pouring from its broken frame. Elias stared. The city itself was fighting back. The mother whispered, her voice trembling with awe. He has awakened the defense. Just as the stories said, 2 hunters remained. They pressed forward, unstoppable. But now beams of energy lanced from the walls, slowing them. Elias used the chance, firing at their weak points. Sparks and flames lit the chamber. But even as one fell, the last hunter locked onto the child. Its red eyes blazed brighter. Priority target. Capture alive. Elias moved to block it, but the machine struck him with a blast of energy. Pain tore through his body, throwing him to the ground. His blaster skidded away. The child screamed, rushing toward him. Human! The hunter reached out with a clawed hand, grabbing for the boy. The mother, with the last of her strength, pushed herself up. She stood between her child and the machine, her body trembling. You will not take him! The hunter raised its blade, ready to strike her down. Elias, bleeding and broken, forced himself to rise. His vision blurred, but his will burned brighter. He grabbed his blaster, aimed, and fired one last desperate shot. The beam struck the hunter's glowing eye. Metal cracked, sparks flying. The machine staggered, blinded, its grip loosening. The child cried out, pressing both hands to the crystal floor. Light exploded across the chamber, a wave of blue fire blasting the machine back. When the light faded, silence returned. Smoke drifted in the air. The last hunter lay broken, its body burning. Elias collapsed to his knees, chest heaving. The mother clutched her child, tears glowing down her face. But Elias knew this was not victory. It was only the beginning, because the hunters had found them and more would come. The chamber still glowed faintly after the battle. Smoke drifted from the broken hunters, their bodies sparking as if their hearts were burning out. Elias leaned against the wall, breathing hard. His muscles screamed with pain, but his eyes stayed fixed on the alien child and his mother. The boy clung to her, face buried in her arms, his glowing tears staining her skin. The woman's breathing was shallow, her wound bleeding again from the effort of standing. Yet her gaze did not leave Elias. You fought for us, she whispered. Her voice was weak but carried weight. Why? Elias slid down to the floor, his blaster resting in his lap. He answered simply, because I could. Because someone had to. The woman's eyes softened for a moment, but then like a shadow crossing her face, pain returned. You don't understand what you've done. By standing with us, you've made yourself part of this war. Elias looked at the child, then back at her. Then tell me, what are they? Why do they want him? For a long time, the woman was silent. Only the sound of the boy's quiet sobs filled the chamber. Finally, she spoke. They hunt him because of what flows in his blood. Elias frowned. Blood? The woman nodded slowly. He is not only of my kind. He carries something more, something they fear. Elias blinked, his mind racing. You mean, he's not fully alien? The woman's lips trembled. Long ago, before the war, our people searched for a way to survive. We knew our enemies were stronger, colder, endless. We searched the stars for allies. And in that search, we found humans. Elias froze. Humans? Her eyes met his, shimmering faintly in the glow. Your kind. There were whispers of bonds between us, families, children, half one, half the other. But those unions were destroyed, erased by the hunters before they could grow. Elias's chest tightened. You're saying, your son, the child lifted his head. His glowing eyes were filled with both fear and pride. I am both, he whispered. I am my mother's son. But I am also part human. Elias stared at him in shock. The truth settled like thunder in his chest. The boy's face, though alien, now carried something familiar. The shape of his eyes. The strength of his voice. The woman continued, her words heavy. That is why the hunters will never stop. If my son lives, he proves that humans and my people are not enemies. He proves we can be more, stronger together. That is what they fear. Elias looked down at his hands scarred from battles. He had fought for colonies, for leaders, for wars that left nothing but ashes. But this was different. This was not about land or power. This was about the future itself. The boy moved closer to him, clutching his sleeve. That's why I asked you to marry my mom. If you are bound to us, they can't erase us. We would be family. We would survive. Elias felt the weight of those words. He was a soldier, not a savior. But in the boy's voice there was hope, pure and desperate like a candle fighting the dark. The woman shook her head, tears glowing in her eyes. He does not understand the world. He believes too much. He should not have placed this burden on you. Elias looked at her firmly. No, he understands more than you think. He understands that family is what saves us. Not weapons, not walls, family. The chamber fell silent. The child's grip tightened. The woman's eyes shimmered with conflict, fear of hope, fear of loss. Then outside a new sound rose. Not the heavy steps of hunters. Something deeper. A distant roar shaking the ground like thunder. The woman's face turned pale. They've called reinforcements. Elias stood, blaster in hand. Then we move. Staying here is death. The boy pointed to a broken passage at the far side of the chamber. There's a way down. I saw it when the crystals lit up. The city wants us to go deeper, Elias nodded. Then lead the way. They moved slowly, Elias carrying the mother when she stumbled. The boy guided them, his hands brushing against the walls. Wherever he touched, symbols glowed, showing a path. As they descended, the air grew colder. The ruins gave way to something older, stranger. Giant halls carved into stone lined with alien statues. Symbols pulsed faintly like veins of light. The mother whispered in awe. This city, it was built before the war. A place where humans and my people once stood together. Elias's breath caught. Together? She nodded weakly. Yes, this was where the first unions were made. Where blood was shared. Where the dream of family began. That is why the hunters want it buried. The boy touched a great stone door. It trembled, then slowly opened as if recognizing him. Beyond lay a chamber filled with machines long asleep, their surfaces glowing faintly as though waking to his presence. Elias stared. What is this place? The mother's voice was soft, almost reverent. It is the truth. Proof that you and I were meant to stand as one. Proof that my son is not a mistake, but the future. The boy turned to Elias, his small hands glowing with light from the walls. That's why you're here, isn't it? To help us finish what they started. Elias looked at the boy, then at the wounded woman, then at the vast hall waking around them. His chest tightened. He had come for supplies, for survival, but now he was holding the future of two worlds, and the hunters would do anything to destroy it. The stone door groaned as it opened, the sound echoing through the ruins like the cry of some ancient beast. Cold air swept out, carrying the smell of dust and time. Elias stepped forward first, blaster raised, scanning the darkness beyond. The child held his mother's hand, his glowing eyes lighting their path. They entered the chamber. It was vast. So vast it felt endless. Tall columns rose like trees, each covered in glowing symbols that pulsed faintly as if alive. Strange machines lined the walls. Long silent, their surfaces coated in centuries of dust. In the center stood a great platform, circular and carved with patterns of both alien and human design. Elias's breath caught. This place, it's been here for ages. The mother's eyes shimmered in the faint light. Her voice trembled. The silent city. My people spoke of it only in whispers. They said it was lost, destroyed by time. But it sleeps. Waiting, the child moved to the platform. As his feet touched it, the carvings glowed brighter, spreading like veins of fire. The machines on the wall stirred, lights flickering. The silent city was waking. Elias felt the ground hum beneath him. He tightened his grip on the blaster. Are we safe here? The woman shook her head slowly. Safe? No, the hunters will follow. They always follow, but here, we might have a chance. The child looked back at Elias, his voice filled with hope. Do you feel it? The city knows us. It remembers. Elias frowned. Remembers what? The mother's gaze lowered. It remembers when humans and my kind stood together. When we shared blood and built a future. Before the hunters erased it. Elias's chest tightened. He looked around at the carvings, faces of humans and aliens side by side, hands joined, children carved between them. He had fought wars, seen monuments built for victory or power, but this was built for unity. He whispered almost to himself. So it's true. We were meant to stand together. The child pressed his small hands to the center of the platform. Light spread outward in a circle, filling the hall. Above them, a ceiling of crystal lit up, showing stars. Constellations shifted, revealing a map. Elias stared up. That's the galaxy. The mother nodded weakly. A map of what was. And what could be again. But before they could study it, the sound returned. A distant thud. The ground shook faintly. The hunters were coming. Elias snapped back to focus. We don't have long. Can this place defend us? The child closed his eyes, concentrating. The platform glowed brighter under his hands. Machines along the walls groaned, gears turning after centuries of silence. Panels opened, revealing weapons, turrets of alien design that hummed with energy. Elias's eyes widened. It's arming itself. The boy's voice echoed through the chamber, though his lips barely moved. It listens to me. It listens. Because of what I am, the mother whispered in awe. He is the key. Just as the old stories said, but Elias saw the strain in the boy's face. His small body trembled as if the energy flowing through him was too much to carry. Elias stepped forward, kneeling beside him. Easy, kid. Don't push too hard. The boy looked up at him, glowing eyes burning with determination. If I don't, they'll take us. They'll take her. I can't let that happen. Elias placed a hand on his shoulder. Then you won't, but you don't have to do it alone. The boy blinked, confused. How can you help? The city doesn't listen to you. Elias looked at the mother, then back at the boy. Maybe not. But if you're part of me, if you carry human blood, then maybe it will. The boy's eyes widened. He nodded slowly and pressed Elias's hand to the glowing platform. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the platform flared with brighter light, the carvings shifting under their hands. The hum grew louder. Machines along the walls awakened fully, their weapons locking into place. The city had accepted him. The mother stared, tears glowing down her face. It sees you as family. It remembers you too. Before Elias could answer, the wall shook violently. The great stone door they had passed through split open with a roar. Red light cut through the dust as hunters forced their way inside. 3, 4, 5 of them. Elias jumped to his feet, blaster raised. The city's defenses activated, beams of blue energy blasting toward the machines. Metal clashed with fire, the hunters advancing even under the onslaught. The boy shouted, "They won't stop! They want me alive!" Elias fired beside the city's beams, his shots striking cracks in the hunter's armor. Sparks flew, one machine collapsing in flames. But the others pressed forward, weapons glowing red. The mother cried out as a beam scorched the ground near her. Elias pulled her back, shielding her with his body. The boy screamed, pressing his hands harder into the platform. Light surged again, brighter than before. The entire city trembled as if answering his desperate call. One hunter fell, its body torn apart by a sudden burst of energy. Another staggered back, crushed by collapsing stone. But even as the city fought, more shadows moved at the broken door. The hunters were endless. The mother whispered in despair, "We can't hold them forever." Elias's jaw tightened. He aimed again, sweat dripping down his face. His voice was hard, steady. "Then we don't hold. We find a way to end this." The boy looked up at him, tears glowing on his cheeks. "How?" Elias fired another shot, the blast echoing through the chamber. His answer came with steel in his voice. "By fighting as one. By showing them what family means." The city roared in answer, light spreading across every wall. The silent city was no longer silent. It had awakened. The silent city trembled as if it was alive. Blue light ran across the walls like veins, answering the boy's call. Machines hidden for centuries fired beams of energy at the hunters, filling the chamber with fire and thunder. Elias fought beside the ancient city's defenses, his blaster flashing with each shot. One hunter collapsed under the city's attack, its body torn apart. Another staggered back as Elias's bullet struck its core, but still they came. The machines did not fear pain. They did not fear death. The mother cried out as she stumbled, clutching her side. Blood shimmered faintly under her hand. Elias grabbed her before she fell, dragging her behind a broken pillar. "You're bleeding again," Elias said, voice sharp with worry. She shook her head. Don't waste time on me. Protect him. The boy stood on the platform, light pouring from his hands. His small body shook, but his eyes blazed with determination. The city's power surged through him, yet Elias could see the strain pulling him apart. "Human!" the boy shouted, his voice echoing in the chamber. "They are breaking through." "I can't hold them all." Elias fired again, dropping one hunter, but 3 more entered through the broken door. Their red eyes glowed, scanning the room. One of them spoke, its voice cold and final. "Priority target detected. Capture hybrid. Eliminate others." The machines surged forward. Elias cursed under his breath. They couldn't win this fight forever. They needed something more. He turned to the mother. "What can the city do? There has to be more than weapons." Her eyes widened. She hesitated, then whispered, "There is. But it requires a bond, a family. Only a union can awaken the heart of the city." Elias frowned. "Union?" She looked at him with trembling eyes. "Not just blood. A promise, a choice to stand as one, human and alien bound together. That is how the city's heart was made to work. That is how it defends not just with weapons, but with life." Elias's chest tightened. He thought of the boy's first plea. "Please marry my mom, human." At the time it had seemed childish, desperate. But now it was more than a plea. It was the key. The mother's voice broke. "If you choose this, you tie your fate to ours. The hunters will never stop hunting you. You will carry our war as your own." Elias looked at her. Her face was pale, her body weak. Yet her eyes still burned with pride. He looked at the boy, trembling but unyielding. Then he looked at the hunters, advancing step by step, red light filling the hall. He had a choice: leave, survive alone, or stand, not as a soldier but as family. The boy cried out, "Please, don't leave us. You are all we have." Elias felt the words strike deeper than any blade. He had seen soldiers beg for life, leaders beg for power, but never a child begging for family. He stepped onto the platform beside the boy. The glowing symbol shifted under his boots. The boy looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes. "What are you doing?" the child asked. Elias placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "What I should have done from the start. I'm not leaving you," the mother gasped. "You don't understand what this means." Elias cut her off, his voice steady. "I do. It means you're not alone anymore." He reached for her hand. She hesitated, fear and hope clashing in her eyes. Then with trembling fingers she took his. The platform blazed with light. Symbols spun like stars around them. The chamber shook as a pulse of energy burst outward, throwing the hunters back. The machines screamed in metallic voices. "Union detected. Unacceptable. Eradicate." But the city roared in answer. Its walls lit brighter, machines awakening in every corner. Energy poured through the platform, rising like a storm. Elias felt the power rush through him. Not just the city's power, but something deeper, like the warmth of hands holding his, like the bond of a family he never thought he'd have. The mother leaned against him, her body weak but her eyes alive with wonder. It worked. The city accepts you. The boy smiled through glowing tears. "You chose us." The hunters surged forward, weapons blazing. But this time the city's heart fought back. A shield of light rose around Elias, the mother, and the boy. The hunter's beam struck it, but the shield held strong. Elias aimed his blaster through the shield, firing with deadly precision. The city's weapons joined him, beams of energy slicing through the machines. One by one the hunters fell, their bodies crushed, burned, and broken. The chamber fell silent again, filled only with the hum of the city. Elias dropped to his knees, exhausted. The shield faded, but the glow of the platform remained. The mother's breathing was ragged, but she smiled faintly. "You chose a burden that is not yours." "Why?" Elias looked at her, then at the boy. He answered softly, "Because it is now." The boy clung to him, small arms tight around his chest. "You're our family now." Elias felt the words settle in his heart like fire and stone. He had made his choice, and there was no turning back. But in the distance, deep within the city, a new sound began to rise. A rumble like a giant waking. The ground shook harder than before. The mother's eyes widened in dread. "No, it's not over. That was only the beginning." Elias stood, blaster in hand, jaw tight. He looked into the dark halls ahead. Whatever was coming, he was ready, because he had made his choice. The ground rumbled like a heartbeat beneath their feet. The silent city was fully awake now, its walls glowing with rivers of blue light, its machines humming with power that had slept for centuries. Elias stood on the platform, the alien mother at his side, the child clinging to his arm. But even with the hunters destroyed, he knew it was not over. The rumble grew louder, deeper, as if something vast moved in the dark tunnels beyond. Dust shook from the ceiling. The mother's eyes widened with dread. "They've sent more," she whispered. "The first wave was only the test. Now comes the true blade." Elias raised his blaster, though he knew it would never be enough. He looked at the boy. "Can the city fight again?" The child's eyes glowed brighter, but his body trembled. "It listens to me, but it's so heavy. It hurts to hold it all." Elias knelt, gripping the boy's shoulders. "You don't carry it alone anymore. We do this together." The mother pressed her weak hand over theirs, completing the bond. For a moment, warmth passed through them all, a strange unity of human and alien hearts. The platform answered with a bright flare, the chamber shaking with energy. Then the enemy came. From the tunnels, massive shapes emerged. Not hunters this time, but war machines even larger. Their bodies crawled on many legs, their heads bristling with weapons. Their red lights cut through the dark like burning suns. "Targets detected," their voices boomed in unison. "Union cannot be allowed. Annihilation required," the child cried out, pressing his hands to the platform. Blue shields rose around them, vast walls of light blocking the first barrage of fire. Explosions shook the hall, but the shield held. Elias fired through the glowing barrier, his shot striking weak points in the machine's armor. The city's own weapons awoke as well, beams of energy lancing from the walls, tearing into metal. But the war machines were stronger than the hunters. They pushed forward, their weapons burning through the shield. Piece by piece, the mother gasped, her strength fading. "The shield won't last. The city needs more." Elias understood. The city was not just a fortress. It was alive, bound to their bond. If they faltered, it faltered. He took the mother's hand in one of his, the boy's in the other. He closed his eyes, focusing not on fear, but on the memory of what he had felt when he chose them. Not soldiers, not strangers, family. The platform flared, brighter than before. The shield surged back, pushing the war machines away. The boy's voice echoed, though it was more than just his voice. It was the city's voice, booming through the chamber. "We are one. We are not broken. We are family." The machines screamed in metallic rage and fired again, but the shield bent their blast aside, reflecting them back. One war machine collapsed, its legs torn away by its own weapon. Elias opened his eyes, sweat dripping down his face. His voice was steady. "We end this now," the city responded. The platform lifted them slightly into the air as if carrying them on invisible wings. Energy gathered above, a storm of light. The mother looked around in awe, tears glowing on her cheeks. This is the heart of the city, its final defense. The boy raised his hands higher, light blazing from his small body. Elias held him steady, lending his own strength. The mother pressed against them both, whispering, "Together, together." The storm of light unleashed. A wave of pure energy swept through the chamber, brighter than the sun. It struck the war machines, tearing through their armor, ripping them apart. Their screams echoed metallic and broken before silence swallowed them. When the light faded, only ruins remained. The chamber was still. The silent city was quiet again. Elias lowered the boy gently. The child's eyes dimmed, his body trembling with exhaustion. The mother caught him, holding him close, whispering soft words in her own tongue. Elias stood looking at the wreckage. The hunters were gone, the war machines destroyed. For now, they were safe. But he knew more would come. The mother raised her eyes to him, weak, tired, but filled with something new. Hope. "You chose us when you didn't have to. Why?" Elias looked at her, then at the boy who clung to his hand with a tired but trusting grip. His voice was quiet but strong. "Because family is worth fighting for, and now, you're mine." The boy's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were not of fear. They glowed with joy. He whispered, "You stayed." Elias knelt, pulling the child close. "I'll always stay." The mother placed her hand on his shoulder, her voice soft. "Then perhaps the stories were true. Humans and my people were meant to stand as one." Elias looked around at the silent city, now glowing softly like a resting giant. "Then maybe this time the hunters won't erase us. Maybe this time we build something they can't destroy." For the first time in years, Elias felt something inside him he thought he had lost on old battlefields. Not duty, Not survival. Hope. The child leaned against him, whispering in a tired voice. We are family now. Forever. Elias held him tighter, his eyes sharp with promise. Forever. Above them, the crystal ceiling glowed, showing the stars again. The map of the galaxy shimmered with new light, as if the city itself was marking a beginning, not an end. The war was not finished. The hunters would return. But Elias no longer faced the galaxy alone. He had chosen, he had a family, and together they would change the future.